See. Right, how are we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Obviously, on my last one, we gave a little preview of my 26-man England squad, what we thought about it. And for once, I actually agreed with Southgate on the selection, so I was pretty happy. Today, I'm joined with George and Harry, who are going to be previewing the whole tournament with me. We're going to be going through each group who we fancy to go through. We're going to be talking about our winning predictions to who's going to be lifting the trophy at Wembley come the end of July, I think it is. And also our golden boot predictions, also giving a little bit of feel of how we feel of England's chances in this competition. But quick introduction. In the top left, we've got Harry. Obviously, you guys have seen him before. He's a Foxes fan. Harry, how are we doing? You right, Ledge?
Very well, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries, oh boy. And then at the bottom, we've got Senior Garrett Dogby, Bristol City fan. Another great year for them, mid-table in the Championship. Garrett, how are we feeling, Ledge?
I'm well, mate. I wouldn't call it mid-table. It was more relegation scrap by the end of it. So that's very generous.
The classic Christmas. We're going up. We're going up. Oh, brilliant.
Every year. But I still bought my season ticket for next year. So I'm going back.
Love that. All right. Obviously, my video the other day was just on my own. So I'm just going to quickly go to you boys. What you thought of the 26-man squad and any potential people you have in the squad at the minute you wouldn't have there, people that are sat in the wings at home that you thought would be there. Obviously, just before we started recording, we talked about Trent not being there. So there's a 26th position available and who you'd have in that slot. Harry, I'll come to you first. Ledge, what are your general thoughts on the 26-man squad that Southgate's picked?
I really like the squad. I don't think he could have done masses different. Like, personally, I'd have taken Jesse Lingard. I just cannot understand the need to take 4 right backs. For me, I probably wouldn't have taken Reece James. I hope that Lingard comes into the squad as Trent's replacement, but at the same time, completely understand if he goes with Ward-Prowse. And I think from the bits that I saw of today's game, the quality Ward-Prowse has on delivery into the box with someone like Calvert-Lewin is such a good option if you're chasing a game or you just want something completely different to what probably the starting 11 or the general philosophy he'll play with is. So I've just said Jesse Lingard and then made a real case for James Ward-Prowse. So, you know what, if he went with either, I really wouldn't be worried. And I've almost convinced myself I want Ward-Prowse because if you haven't got Trent's quality on the ball, that piece of quality on set pieces. So scrap that, I'm going Ward-Prowse.
That's literally what I said. I was like, I understood the Trent selection, like what he brings, and he obviously brings what he does with set pieces, and you lose him. I think Ward-Prowse kind of can take over that role. Any blokes that in the provisional squad that weren't there or even weren't in there, like a Bamford or someone like that, that you'd potentially have there, or a Konsa or Ben Godfrey or Ben White, anyone you'd have instead of anyone else?
I'll upset you. I'm not convinced that Tyrone Mings is that good a centre-back. I think he's really lucky that he's left-footed and can play in that left centre-back role. Listening to a lot of football podcasts, speaking Villa with you, sort of everything I hear is that Konsa is the outstanding centre-half of the two that play at centre-back for Villa. I think Ben Godfrey's also really good. So it wasn't a surprise, was it, that he went with Mings? But at the same time, I would have I'd have preferred to have seen one of Konsa or Godfrey. And the other thing is Connor Cody struggled really this year at Wolves, especially when they've played a back 4. He seems to be a great defender in a back 3 and a really good leader. But I'm not convinced that they would ever line up Stones and Cody, for example, in a back 4 if Maguire's not fit.
100% agree, Ledge. Garrett, you've been biting your tongue waiting to say what you think. What are you thinking about the 26-man squad? Any changes for you?
No, I was pretty happy with it, if I'm honest. I think kind of echoing what Harry said about Mr. Ward-Prowse in a tournament. Football is a game won on kind of those moments, and a lot of them will be set pieces. I think if England are playing the big boys, they'll win the matches on set pieces. And I think we're having Ward-Prowse coming off the bench, or maybe in the starter in certain games, is a real added kind of dimension to the squad that hasn't necessarily got at the moment. Other than that, mate, I'm pretty set on the squad. I'm pretty pleased to see Sam Johnson. I know he's not going to start, but he's had a really good year for West Brom, and he made an awesome save again today.
Quality tonight.
it just shows that, you know, even if you're down for scrapping in relegation, you still get you still get rewarded, even if that's being a goalkeeper. So, yeah, other than that, mate, I've got no issues with the squad. I think it picks itself, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the tournament, mate.
Good stuff. So we're all pretty content with the squad. Let's just run through 1 to 11. First game against Croatia. So we're pretending like it's Croatia. We're not setting up for a specific Germany or something. 1 to 11. Do we all kind of accept that the formation is going to be 4 at the back, 2 holding midfielders, number 8, and then Kane and 2 wingers? Do we accept that's probably what it's going to be?
Is this what we think Southgate will pick?
What we think Southgate will pick.
I think if Harry Maguire's not fit, they'll play a back 3.
Yeah, I agree. I'm basing mine on Maguire being available, which is I'm not.
Have they actually explicitly said whether he's going to be available or not? I guess they probably wouldn't.
I haven't seen anything, to be honest.
No.
All right. Well, we'll go through our teams anyway. Number 1, are we all agreeing? Who are you guys going with in goal?
Pickford.
Okay, I think he picked himself. Easy.
The Chav.
Jordan Pickford in goal. So Harry, I'll let you go. If you're going back 4 or back 5, you pick your starting defence.
Okay, I'm going back 5 because I think that's what he'll do.
Okay.
And I think he will go Trippier as the wing back, with Kyle Walker as the right centre back, Stones, Tyrone Mings, and I personally don't think there's much in it between Shaw and Chilwell. Shaw probably had the better season, I think. So I'm going with that's my back 5. Then I think he'll probably Declan Rice has to start, doesn't he?
Great.
And I think he probably one of Mason Mount or Calvin Phillips, because I don't think you can play Henderson after he's played what? Did he start tonight?
He played last second half. Came on half time.
I don't think you can start a bloke who's played 45 minutes of football since February. So I'm going Mason Mount and Declan Rice there. And I personally think he will go Sterling, Kane, and one of Grealish or Foden. I think Grealish probably. I quite like this. I think he'll, made your day. I think he'll be pragmatic, and I don't think that means that will be the team against Scotland in the second game. I think it's more than likely that they might then go to a back 4, play one holding midfielder, and you will see the array of different attackers play. But I personally think that's the team he'll go with against Croatia. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. Can't really complain about that. We're going to go to Mr. Pragmatic himself, George. What are you thinking, lads? 1 to 11 Croatia.
I'm going to think you can play 4-2-3-1. I'm including Maguire in this, so it could. I'd probably go to the side that Harry's picking if Maguire wasn't to be fit. Good 4-2-3-1 with Pickford in goal, right back Walker, 2 centre backs Maguire and Stones, left back Luke Shaw, 2 holding Declan Rice, and then obviously if I'm kind of torn. I'd prefer Henderson to be in there, but I'm picking Henderson of last year that was fit and raring to go. So I probably feel inclined to play Phillips with Mount just in front, Grealish on the left, Sterling on the right, and then Kane up top.
Like it. You're a big Sterling man. You're a Sterling supporter.
Yeah, Sterling is. Well, I think Southgate trusts him. He's proved that in the past, and even though he didn't have his best Champions League final, I think he's he's been there and done it, isn't it? And yeah, I like Sterling a lot, especially with Kane.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Actually, I was quite interested the other day. I was reading about England's team, and Sterling's actually, if what I read was correct, has got the most caps out of anyone in the team. He's got 61 English caps. So for a team that you think about all the talent and excitement they've got, you still need a bit of experience with like your Kane and your Hendersons, and obviously Sterling, Pickford having been there in like a game against like Colombia in the World Cup. So
especially when you think of the tournaments Sterling would have been to. I mean, he would have been to Euro 2016, I assume, when England were dismal, and 2018 as well. A lot of this squad would have been in 2018 where we kind of got on a run and rode a wave and it all went swimmingly. But now there's a bit more expectation where with more or less a home tournament, and players like Sterling will be in there with their experience. And you just thought, whenever Sterling steps on a pitch, there is that expectation. So I think having those guys that have to deal with that week in, week out, I think that will set us in good stead.
I also think that if Henderson and Maguire are both not fit, that side becomes a lot less experienced in terms of tournament football. And I think that only solidifies Sterling's place in the side. Personally, I think sort of Southgate definitely views him as a leader. I think he's in City's leadership group and stuff like that. So, and to me, it doesn't sound like either of them will be fit. So I think Sterling definitely starts.
Yeah, and like it's tournament experience, and it's your core of the team. It's your centre back and your central midfielder that you're losing if both of those two don't start. I mean, Henderson having 45 minutes, it's probably not enough. I don't really see him starting. If he is fit, I'd obviously have him starting. Being a Villa fan, I'm obviously not a massive Calvin Phillips fan, so I don't know if I'd have him that role. To be honest, I'm more than happy just to throw Jude Bellingham in there to start, which is even more rogue because he's played for Birmingham. But I honestly, every time I watch him, I just think he's class. I think comes on, he changes.
He was in the squad.
Yeah, he can play anywhere. I think people are happy that, like, obviously he's got this array of offensive talent and going forward, but he can sit in and play a little bit deeper and control the ball in the middle of the pitch, which is scary to think as a 17-year-old, not even like second guessing myself about him having a start or even just playing in the first place for England in a major tournament.
Looking at the average age of the squads here, I've got it up, and England have got the second youngest average age in the competition, which adds to what we're saying about experience and
who's got the youngest sledge?
Turkey.
Could be upset Turkey time. No, yeah.
Belgium have got the oldest, which is quite telling in a sense. Either they've got a lot of guys that have been around the block, and the experience will count for a lot, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Well, yeah, I've basically said my team the other day, but I'm similar as George, pretty much back four, same as you. I'm having Henderson and Rice, Mount at 8, Grealish, Kane, and I think Sterling probably just gets in there because Rashford's probably a better player on the left-hand side, and Sterling is a right wing. Obviously, Foden could play there, but I think you need one of Sterling or Rashford that can stretch the pitch. I don't think you can probably start Grealish and Foden, no matter if you want to.
Foden isn't starting. I know it's impossible to squeeze everyone in, but Man City fans will be in uproar. But that's the way it goes.
But good that you mentioned Belgium, because we're going to just be quickly running through kind of who we think are like major sort of competitors to England as being potential like title winning teams here. Obviously, there's quite an array of teams that have got a lot of talent. England, obviously, I think by most bookies are actually favourites to win it. I think I saw like 4 or 5 to 1, which I was pretty, shocked about, but that was pretty telling that obviously there's a lot of confidence in this team. Who do we fancy as other teams to be kind of thereabouts come the end of this tournament? George, I'll come to you first, Edge.
Well, I think it goes without saying that I think the French side, you can't really look beyond them at the moment. They're full of having come off the back of the World Cup. They've got that, same manager. Karim Benzema's come back in the side, and he, from what I saw with him at Real Madrid in the Champions League, he seemed to basically carry them for a lot of the year. So I think France, Belgium, Portugal are the other name that you look around and the amount of quality they've got. I think it'll be dominated by kind of those four, England, France, Belgium, and Portugal. Italy and Holland. I don't think Holland without Van Dijk. I'm not convinced by. Italy and Spain are going through that phase where they're not. I think they're kind of rebuilding, having had some eras of being with world class players. Now they're beginning to. Like England have done a few times, go through those stages where they're players in the making rather than the finished article. There's always a surprise side in there. I can't really see. I don't look at a side and think, what, I'm convinced that they're going to surprise a few. I mean, it's not like you've got the home nation either. You would look at the World Cup when Russia kind of exceeded expectation and did well because they were in a home nation and they surprised a few people. I generally can't see. I think it's going to be battle of the big boys, and that's simple as that, really.
Harry, what are you thinking?
George, you haven't mentioned Germany.
So Germany, I'm not convinced by them. I don't think they've got, like, Muller's too old. Don't think Werner's didn't score enough goals. So yeah, I guess I bracket them with Italy and Spain.
Yeah, I reckon that's it's hard to disagree with any of that. I think Croatia may be the only one who I'd throw in there as well, but I know they're wonderful players, but their midfield three, they seem old now, don't they? Sort of Modric and Rakitic, you sort of think are on, they'll probably win it now, but they seem to be like on the way out. Not on the way out, but in the sort of back ends of their careers and stuff like that. And you look at the squads that Portugal, England, France, Belgium to an extent, but their centre halves are old. And like Alderweireld's been in and out of the Spurs team. I'm not sure how much. I think Vertonghen's gone to Benfica. I'm not sure how much he's played for them this year. I'm just not convinced with Belgium. I think there's so much hype around, and they've got some wonderful players, don't get me wrong, but there's always so much hype. And whether they fully perform, a bit like a South Africa in the cricket, I'm not convinced they will go sort of the whole way. For me, I could see someone like Germany who just have that ruthless mentality and just win games in tournaments being more likely to go further than a Belgium personally. But for me, it's between probably France and Portugal and my two.
I've just got up the odds here for what they've got at the minute for the Euros. They've got England and France both at 9-2, then closely followed by Belgium, then Germany, Portugal and Spain all at 8, and then Italy at 9. So pretty similar to what you guys have said. I found it quite interesting, actually. I looked at the sort of qualification groups. Obviously, you can't take a lot of what comes in those games because you play a lot of substandard teams, but the two teams to not drop any points, I believe, were Italy and Belgium. It kind of seems like possibly one of those tournaments where a team like Italy kind of comes in under the radar and isn't talked about as much as like a flashy England or the talent of Belgium or like the flair players you've got in the French team. So, I mean, there's potential that someone like that could go big. Obviously, we'll go through the groups and who we think are going to qualify, but there's obviously a very spicy Group F looking at us. So potential that one of these big three that we've been talking about could even be gone before we get into knockout football. So going on to that, we're going to be quickly going through Group A to F, who we've got going through. Obviously, it's 4 groups of 6. So it is the top 2 that go through from each group and the 4 best third place finishes. So I looked at the groups from the last European competition, and to get through, you actually only needed 3 points and with a goal difference of 0. So you can potentially just win one game and not get hammered in the others, and it could be enough to go through. So we're going to quickly run through that and who we think is going through. Group A, we've got Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, Wales. Obviously, Welsh flag flying one of the home nations. It's exciting to see them. I mean, I don't know if guys want them to do well or want them to flop, but we've got Gareth Bale and Wales in this competition. Who do we think is going through from Group A? George, you first, Ledge.
Italy will win the group. Turkey will come second.
Like it. Harry?
Completely agree.
No chance for Wales, either of you?
Yeah. There was the spirit, wasn't there, in 2016? Like, it was brilliant. You have to save them with whatever the rivalry is between England and Wales, but I don't get that impression. It's Bale's not the player he was, is he, anymore?
Yeah, and I think they've obviously had the issue with Bale. Obviously, Ryan Giggs isn't even going to be there because he's battling his court case or whatever it is with his issues off the pitch. So it just seems a bit of a dismantled Welsh team that doesn't really piece together at the perfect time for this tournament, unfortunately. So I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Italy and Turkey, and then if Switzerland have get to burgle that third spot, they might be the third team that goes through in that group. Then we've got Group B, which is Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Russia, obviously, who we've just talked about, who were very good in that home World Cup they had. Harry, you first, Edge. What are we thinking from this group going through?
Well, Belgium's the obvious one, and I presume it will then be Denmark or Russia. And with my Leicester allegiances and Kasper Schmeichel being one of the best goalkeepers in the world for me, I'll have to go Denmark.
Love it. Gary, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go for Belgium and then Russia. I remember Russia having a few very good young players back in the World Cup, and I think they're becoming of age. So, yeah, Russia.
Yeah, I'm going to be extremely boring and literally pick the exact same 2 to go through from this group. I'll then go on to Group C. I'll do mine first. We've got Austria, we've got Holland, North Macedonia, and Ukraine. One team I'm really rooting for in this tournament is North Macedonia, because I did actually catch, I think, probably the last 35 minutes of their game. They played Germany earlier in the qualifications. I think they went 1-0 up, and I was like, no way. And they clung on for a 2-1 win, I'm pretty sure I remember watching. So that's a special story that they're in there. Obviously, Holland are probably the most talked about team in this group. Austria during the week looked really poor, I thought. I mean, I know we only won by a goal, but just looked like they had nothing really going forward. There was a lot of talk from the pundits and stuff that there's some issues in the managerial background staff. They don't know who they're picking. They've got no goals. So I think it's going to be Holland and Ukraine are going to get the second place. And I would love to see North Macedonia somehow get a win and finish third. Can I see that happening? Probably not. But I'm going to go Holland and Ukraine for me. Harry, what are you saying?
I think the same. I watched the first half of the game against Austria, and like you say, they didn't look brilliant. I don't know much about Ukraine. Is North Macedonia who Alioski plays for at Leeds? Am I right in saying?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think they're my second team for this tournament. Then, like, what a great story! Sort of, I've got the BBC Sport app on my phone just to see who's in what groups. North Macedonia don't even have a profile on it. That's sort of how little, I guess, and unheard of they are. But Netherlands and Ukraine for me.
Yeah, George, what are you thinking, Ledge?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Harry says. Ukraine normally they always seem to turn up for these tournaments and qualify, and they always bring kind of that hard-working, organised. So I think Holland will have the flair and that, I suppose, that experience on the biggest European stage, and then Ukraine will follow them.
Like it. George, I'm going to come straight back to you, put some pressure on you. Group D, this is the home one. England, Scotland, Czech Republic, Croatia. Who are we thinking is going through in this one?
England are going to win the group, and Croatia are going to come second.
No chance for Scotland. Are Scotland going to finish third and have a chance?
No. Well, I see if a fair few of their games are in Glasgow, so that could prove helpful for sure. The Scottish will get first one they've been in however long, isn't it? So in David Marshall, that penalty save back in whenever it was in COVID, and then seeing their celebrations in the dressing room, and that song Saturday Night, David Marshall. So yeah, it'll be good to see the Scottish there, but I can't see them getting past the group stages.
Harry, Group D, what are you thinking?
Yeah, same. I really want Scotland to do well, because there's the song George said, and there's the I Can Boogie song, isn't there? And those dressing room celebrations are just so good when they qualified. I do reckon the fans thing might play quite a big factor, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Sort of, you could just see sort of raucous Scotland fans making a huge difference, couldn't you? And making it really uncomfortable for Croatia and Czech Republic. We play them at Wembley, don't? Is that right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. They've got first game in Glasgow, second game in London, and third game is in Glasgow. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few Scotsmen at Wembley as well. So, yeah.
I reckon they'll finish third. I'm going to put my neck on the line so Scotland will get a qualification spot. I hope they do.
I'm going to put my neck even more on the line here and go England 1, Scotland 2. I think it's going to be done. I've just got a massive soft spot. John McGinn, Scott McTominay, all those sort of guys you see week in, week out. Even the ex-Blues man, Che Adams himself. People like that. You just want to see a bit of Scotland do well. I mean, it's got that feel against the tournament like we had England-Wales back in the last Euros, like that kind of rivalry that we want to watch. Obviously, it's a shame, given the circumstances, it won't be a packed Wembley or a packed Glasgow, wherever it would be. It's just a bit of a shame that Hampden Park's not going to be filled out, stuff like that. But I think, like you said, any fans that are there will still make a difference. I think Scotland are full of confidence. Obviously, they're riding that penalty shootout. They've come through to get here. They've got a lot of talented footballers. Croatia, a team since the high of 2018 in the World Cup, have kind of slowly declined. I mean, obviously, they've still got a lot of talent on the pitch, but it just has that feeling of a game that, I don't know, a late 90th minute header or something goes Scotland's way somehow, and they get through. I think Croatia will probably have enough to finish third and do it, but a lot, probably more hope than actual brain power for picking Scotland second, but I'm going to give the Scots second place. Then Group E, we've got Sweden, Spain, Slovakia, Poland. Again, Spain, a kind of team that after the kind of David Villa era kind of have gone under the radar a little bit, I'd say. Obviously, the team to beat in this competition. Poland, I don't know if Lewandowski's fit. I'm not sure. I'd need to look at that because I remember when we played them earlier in the year, he wasn't fit and they didn't really offer a lot. I remember they did draw, but we were useless that night. I'm going to go Spain. Obviously, Sweden were thereabouts at the World Cup against us in the quarterfinals. Didn't really offer much, but if you get to a quarterfinal of World Cup, you've got to be doing something right. So going Spain, Sweden, and Poland are going to burgle a third spot. Harry, over to you.
So I just checked. Lewandowski is in their squad. And I'm going for a big name, always like misses out. And I think Spain are who I think will be the big name not to qualify. It's interesting, like no Real Madrid players in the Spain squad and stuff like that. So I'm going Poland to win that group. I think Poland are pretty good. I'm going Sweden to come second. I don't think Spain will qualify.
Oh, I like it. Big calls. George, what are we thinking?
That's a big call from Harry there, but yeah, I'm just looking at the Spanish side now, and you got some. I mean, Busquets still starts midfield, and it seems like he's been around for ages now, doesn't it? And yeah, like Harry said, no Ramos. I think that kind of embodies the end of an era for Madrid and for Spain. So yeah, I still think Spain will qualify. Well, I think that could be in a third place. But I think they'll qualify. I'm going to go win the group. Poland. I think actually I'll go Spain. Spain will finish second, and I think Sweden will finish third.
Right, and then the last group for our predictions is the group of death. We've got France, Germany, Hungary, Portugal. This is honestly disgusting to predict. Obviously Hungary, I mean, I don't know what on earth they've been having team meetings about for the last 3 months, but they must be panicking. Yeah, I mean, obviously the likelihood all three of these probably somehow get through if they give Hungary a seeing to out of the team that loses and they get a good goal difference, but it is more than likely that one of these also don't make it. So I'm going to go from my end and say, I'm going to say Portugal are going to top the group. And I'm going to say France second, Germany third. I don't want to talk about it. Harry, you go.
I'm going France, Portugal, Germany.
George?
Same as Harry. France, Portugal, Germany, I think.
So we all agree Germany third. And then obviously get Portugal.
I think they'll all get 6 points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
But it would be goal difference. I reckon France will thump Hungary or something.
Like it. Like that a lot. All right. We've got a few more things left to do before we finish up. I'm going to give you time to think about your predictions. We're going to say who is going to be winning the Euros, our golden boot winner of the Euros, and one player to watch from any country. It can be a guy that is talked about a lot, a guy who goes under the radar, anyone like that. And you're going to give me one name each. I'll give you a bit of time to think about who you're going to predict. But first, we're going to go golden boot. George Garrett, golden boot winner of this Euro tournament. Who are you going for?
I'm going to be middle of the road again. I think Harry Kane. I genuinely think every time I watch him, the way he's so clinical, he scores so many goals. When you just sit back and think, Jesus, this guy's, he just knows where the goal is every single time. In a pretty, I know him and Son, but I think Spurs were pretty poor this year and he still banged them in. So yeah, Kane. I want to look up. I'm going to look past Benzema as well. Actually, coming back into the French fold, and I think he'll score a reasonable amount of goals as well. So yeah, Kane, but Benzema closely follow.
Harry, who are you thinking for the golden boot?
I'm afraid I also think Harry Kane. He also takes penalties, and just with VAR and stuff like that, sort of, there are so many penalties nowadays, and I just can't see anyone else getting close to him either, unless a team like Poland went on a really good run and got sort of semis or final. and Lewandowski might rival him. But like I saw the other day, the options France have up front, I can't see them sort of sticking with one striker for 90 minutes every game. Whereas, unless he gets injured, Kane plays 90 minutes for England, doesn't he? Or unless we're sort of, if we're cruising 4-0, he might come off. But Kane for me.
Okay. Well, I'll be boring, and I would have said Harry Kane. And I'm going to say Harry Kane, but I'm going to lead it into my player to kind of watch out for, who is a potential outside bet for this goal scoring Golden Boot award. I'm going to go with João Felix from Portugal. I don't know why, but every time I watch him, whether it's club or country, he just kind of just sets the world alight, and he looks so good on the ball. He's going to take a bit of pressure off Ronaldo. Obviously, when it comes to, like you said, with the on penalties, that'll be Ronaldo's duty for Portugal. But there's just something about him that it looks like he has the ability to score 2 or 3 and do it quickly. And obviously they've got 2 big games in their group stage, but they've also got Hungary. And like you said, it might come down to a game where they have to put 4 or 5 past them to consolidate getting through with goal difference or whatever they need. So as an outside bet, I'm going to go for João Felix to be my guy to watch out for, and also my Golden Boot winner. And I'm just checking, he is at 50 to 1 for Golden Boot. So put a quid on it. George, player to watch out for, who are we thinking?
I'm going to go close to home again, but I think Che Adams for Scotland is a player that really found his feet for Southampton. Obviously, he didn't really set the world alight the year before, but they signed him from Birmingham. I remember watching him in the Championship. He's physical, he's aggressive, and he's coming off the back of a really good season. I think he'll get good, decent balls into the box as well with Robertson and Tierney as well. So, yeah, whether Scotland get through the group stages is another thing, but I think Che Adams will, he's robust and he'll suit the style of tournament football that will bring. So, yeah, Che Adams.
Lovely. And Harry, player to watch out for from you, sir?
I'm going close to home, but in terms of my domestic team.
Cengiz Ünder.
Hey?
Cengiz Ünder.
No, I was considering Söyüncü, who I think is brilliant, but slightly rash. But I think this is Tielemans' tournament. I think he's going to light it up. He is so good. And it's easy to say someone's good when, he scored a great goal in the FA Cup final. But he was our outstanding player of the season by a country mile. And I think in a team that has so much attacking quality, and to play with someone like De Bruyne, I worry, because I think he'll also leave Leicester this summer because he'll have a really good tournament. But for me, I think Tielemans is he's my one to watch. I think he'll be brilliant. Yeah,
I like that. Like you said, week in, week out, he's done it all year for you, and was a guy that I actually had in my Premier League team of the season. I thought it was class. So I like the Tielemans shout. All right, we've got a few minutes left. We've got one name each. Who is winning the Euros this year? Harry, I'm going to come to you first, then George, and then I'll finish it off. Harry, who is going to be lifting the trophy come the end of July?
Portugal.
Straight in there, Portugal, bang. George, who are you going for?
I'm going to be optimistic here, lads. I'm going to say England are going to win it.
Come on, lad.
It's a home. I think the side that will win it will have. It's been such a grueling domestic season on all fronts. The side with the biggest squads and the most depth. And I think we've got a lot of depth in our squad. We've got to be organised at the back, but going forward, we're world class. And yeah, get Wembley rocking, get the country rocking. It's coming on.
Right, final England-Portugal 1-1 extra time. 110th minute, Grealish starts in. Ruben Diaz takes his legs out. Harry Kane pen slots it 2-1. England are winning the Euros. That is what's happening. Obviously, I couldn't say Grealish is the man to watch out for, but he is because he's the best player in the world. England are winning the Euros. Grealish has to start. Southgate, you're obviously watching this video because you're a Le Fontour fan. Pick Jack Grealish against Croatia. And if you don't, I'm not going to send what I sent you on Twitter before because I got banned for 48 hours. But lads, cheers for coming on. That was good to chat. Obviously, we've given you our predictions of who is going to go through, who's going to win. Lump some money on it, and we'll give you a load of cash. I'm going to be giving a contest giveaway as well, which I'll be announcing tomorrow, which is a chance to win a free Euro jersey of your choice, any country. I'll be announcing how you can basically get yourself involved in that. But boys, cheers. Any last words before we depart? Harry, I'll come to you.
Oh, wow, a sign off. Keep watching and subscribe to Leif on Tour.
Love it. I mean, I haven't paid him to say that, I promise you. Garrett, any last words? Ledge, obviously just finished a uni degree. Time to sink some pints in the pub watching England.
No, I'll just say I hope there's a lot of physio beds prepared for the Euros, because I think there's going to be a lot of injuries. So survival of the fittest.
That is the most George Garrett pragmatic thing you could literally ever end on. But yeah, guys, cheers for coming on. Good chatting again, and it's coming home, baby.